Good afternoon, everyone, or good evening. Yeah, we are live here with Noah, and um, yeah, we were just talking about like a post that Noah writes yeah today about this like cool new extension, not like the cool new browser, right?
Yeah.
Complete with Chrome, and he was like showing me, and it is like super cool. I think everyone should like take a look at, and let's just like continue the discussion. Like we have like
Yeah.
this small talk before like we jump into the subject.
Yeah, no, I mean, so I'm a very long time Chrome user, and I know most people are Chrome users. And I think if you had told me a week ago I was going to find a replacement for Chrome, I would have said fat chance. But I tried it. It's called Arc. It's from a company called the Browser Company, which is a very funny sort of like where generic name for this browser company, and it's built on Chromium. So it has some Chrome features that are ported over, and you can actually bring all of your. This is probably the reason why I thought I would never switch from Chrome is the extensions. You can bring your extensions over to Arc, which is crazy. So it has all the extensions you have from Chrome. You can import your profiles and your bookmarks and your whatever you want, all your settings basically. And it just looks more like um, other apps seem to have this thing where there's like a sidebar that's your main menu thing. And then browsers, for some reason, said, no, we're not going to do a sidebar. We're going to have a top bar. I don't think that makes that much sense. I love the sidebar. It's really cool. Your address bar is at the top of it. You have all of your tabs that scroll down instead of squeezing them together into that horizontal space at the top. You have this nice full screen view of whatever you're browsing, and it's sort of got like an app switcher for frequently used like whatever frequently used websites you have. And your profiles become these little spaces that you can quickly switch between. So they're not separate windows. They're actually just little, you click down at the bottom and you're in a different space, and all my passwords and all my autofills got transferred over. So it's pretty easy.
Yeah, I don't know if you wanna show or
Yeah, I'll show it for a little
yeah,
bit.
yeah, just first take a
Yeah, so I'm actually using Chrome because we had some technical difficulties and now I don't trust Arc. But here's Arc. It has, you get these folders, but then you can just keep doing new tabs. You have like a little tab switcher thing here for, this just searches Google, but it's this centralized, thing, Chat GPT, whatever, right? And then as you're adding new tabs, they come in down here. You can add little bookmarks to here that are little they're persistent little bookmarks. I got Discord and stuff like that. And then my spaces are down here. I have my main one and my work one that I can very quickly switch between. And you can add a new space, they have like notes and whiteboards that you can add in the browser. These boosts are actually, you can redesign other people's website and change the color scheme. So see if I can do this. Look at that. I'm changing the color scheme on Discord's homepage. That's like crazy to me. And then all of your downloads and media are here and can be dragged into whatever you're working on. And it all just folds up very nicely in the sidebar. Boom, boom. And you have like a full screen view of whatever you're doing. And yeah, there's like little address bar, little button to click whatever URL you're on that copies it instead of having to like click in, you hit Command A, Command C, and then you have a little control panel here with your plugins, and you can use picture in picture mode, developer mode, and then this takes a full screen screenshot of whatever you're on, the full page of scrolling wherever you are. So yeah, little quick
yeah, yeah.
guide to the Arc browser, and I think as much as I love Chrome, those are some features that I've wanted to see from Chrome in a while. So we'll see. Maybe Chrome will add them. I think if I was on the Chrome product team right now, I would be looking at that browser like, we want to give people the ability to do this. And I see they're trying to with, there's a sidebar in Chrome that gives you your bookmarks and history. It's not as good. It's not quite the same level yet. So we'll see. But I'm going to keep using Arc for the time being.
Yeah, you know, like the thing of talking bad about Google is that like he's watching you all the time, but
They've got to know. They've got
yeah,
to know.
yeah, but the thing about Google is that like historically, like speaking, like they didn't invent like much. Of course, that they have like the bookmark system that work pretty sweet to organize the internet. But beyond that, they've been just like buying and copying company. Like Google Analytics, they bought from Urchin. Like Google Analytics 4 is actually like a company that they bought that's Firebase. Like even like Google Ads, that they say, hey, that's what Google made. Like
Double
it
click.
was, they just had to pay like a huge fine for copyright
Yep.
infringement because they just bluntly copied from competition. So like there's like a lot of systems like even like Google Tag Manager, they also copied. And even like Google Tag Manager, their server side, which I saw like, whoa, this is like super crazy. Actually, like there was like plenty of others startups that were ahead of them. So I think every
It's not
time,
just Google either. I was talking to
yeah,
someone earlier today about how, you know, a lot of people say, oh, you got to be the first in a category. It's actually a lot better to be the second. And Apple has shown that because they continually take stuff that already exists. They make this cool, overly optimized version of it. I like Apple products. I think they've done a good job with it, but they never invent something new. They take something that has the workings of a successful product and people haven't gotten their shit together. Sorry, I don't know if I can curse.
yeah,
People haven't
all
gotten their
good, all
stuff,
good.
people haven't
Yeah.
gotten organized enough. You can cut that out. People haven't gotten organized enough, and an Apple or a Google comes along and says, "We can execute on this. We're not coming up with this idea. We're going to be the second and the last of it." You know, it's like you can be the first of something, and that implies other people are going to come in and try to replicate it and beat it. But you know, like in a lot of ways, Apple and Google are in the business of being the last. Like Google has done it better than anything Apple has ever done. They're the last search engine ever invented, right? For a lot of it, you know, not time wise, because there were other search engines that came out after Google, but in a sense, they bookended the search engine war. And now, you know, I know a couple years ago people were speculating that Apple was going to start its own search engine. They're not going to, because there's no further, you know, not that Google is so great, there's no further market share to be won because Google just completely got it.
Wipe out
They
like
wiped
this
it out.
is why like this browser sounds like super you know, like interesting. At the
Yeah.
same time, you know, like they will be like bought or bullied out because it's like they are just, it gets to a point
Little
that
guy.
you become like so huge that you can just like kill like any person that can, you know, present a slight threat to you, right?
Or you know
um
what they would do if they're really smart? They'd make a Chrome extension that turns Chrome into their browser so that's not even a separate app. And then because Google has no problem with you making your name in the Chrome extension store. And they obviously know Chrome very well because I think they used Chrome to build their thing. That's why the extensions are interoperable across both browsers. So I think if they were really smart, instead of releasing a desktop app that competes with Chrome, they would show people how cool their browser is and then say, you can turn your Chrome into this, just get our extension. And that would be the final sort of step there to at least not piss off Google, not piss off the big monster. And you know, I hope they don't get bought out and destroyed because I do like it a lot. I'm hoping we either see those features make their way onto Chrome or they get bought out and preserved as, you know, maybe Chrome admits, the product people at Chrome admit that this is a really great experience and, you know, people should be able to have it, but we want to own it no matter what because, you know, and like Microsoft Edge is Chrome based. People don't realize that, but
Really, it's Chrome based.
Yeah, Microsoft Edge is built on Chromium, which is the open source backing part of Chrome. And that's why it has a lot of similar sort of features and abilities, and why people like it so much more than Internet Explorer. Microsoft has, I think this has to do with Satya Nadella, their CEO for the last like 10 years. They've become a lot less competitive in the almost like brawling way, and they're working with these other companies because I think they realized they completely lost the mobile game, the mobile like smartphone MP3 player game. They were losing to all these companies even though they were bigger than them at the time. They're losing on the search platform. And so I know Satya Nadella has been on record and said, we're no longer trying to make an exclusive thing. We're trying to make something that people use because it works so well with other stuff. And I know they've definitely gotten a lot more friendly with Apple and Google in the last 10 years and made stuff that's more interoperable between the three platforms. And yeah, Microsoft Edge is built with Chromium, which is Google's open source. Anyone can download it. It's like a very bare bones version of Chrome that's for developers to make their own applications with. There's a web scraping tool called Puppeteer that uses Chromium to actually open a browser window and do its web scraping. And if you slow it down, you see that it's actually opening up what looks like a Chrome window and automatically scraping stuff. Yeah, Chromium, look it up. It's
Awesome,
a
man. Yeah, I
development library.
didn't. Yeah, I didn't know about it, and
Yeah.
it sounds like pretty cool. And I wasn't aware of this Microsoft move of kind of losing it up a bit, instead of just confronting those players.
Yeah.
And yeah, I think it makes a lot of sense. Like
Yeah.
super cool, man. Um, yeah. Like I think like the last thing that like to talk about like these distinctions, and then let's just like pop into into our podcast.
Mhm.
It is I think like people should be cautious when they like decide their like tools that they are going to use. I watched like this course that's like you should be aware about like who is the founding of the company, like how many people have on the team, like are they backed up by a big company or are they like starters, because as like we are discussing, like a lot of companies are being bought or bullied out constantly in the market, and the martech industry of those internet tools like is growing like exponentially. So there's like a lot of new tools like popping up and being bought like all the time. And like if you like build your company, your assets like based on one tool, and then you just got bullied out, it's kind of it's yeah, it's a bit
Well, it reminds me of, like a big piece of software for a company, and like if someone's selling you CRM software, most salespeople, when you're asking them about price, they won't say the price, the cost. They won't use those terms. They'll say, this is going to be an investment of X amount of dollars. And it is kind of an investment because you're tying yourself to them. And in a sense, it's like imagine you found a new great CRM. It's so much cheaper, but has so many more features. And so you put your whole company's database on there, and then because they were giving away so many features for such a low price point, they couldn't get to the point of profitability. They don't get bought out and they just shutter. What kind of situation is that? I mean, nothing like that happens overnight so that you won't have any options, but at the very least, you're going to be looking at a last minute CRM migration under the worst circumstances as their infrastructure is failing. So it kind of makes sense that a salesperson who's selling a big piece of marketing software calls it an investment, because in a lot of senses, you want to look at that company the same way you'd look at a company you're potentially going to invest in. CRM, that's like obvious. I don't know, maybe what is it? I joined a video editing software a couple of years ago that was doing this sort of, hey, we're going to be a monthly $30 a month thing, but while we're getting started out, it's $80 lifetime. And I thought, oh, great value there. I'll buy the $80 lifetime one. 3 months later, they're gone. So I ended up paying like about as much as I would have if I had just done $30 a month. I would have paid $10 more if I had just been doing $30 month to month. So it's not I can't be that mad because they were giving me a deal in the first place. And it's a video editing software. It's not like my whole business was running out of it. But it is sort of this thing of like, if I'm paying monthly for something that can go away like that, I kind of want to pay for the security of knowing that you're going to continue or have some options for me. I mean, I get almost I could almost get a little maudlin, a little sad, because I used to have a great library of music on Google Music, which has now shuttered. And for a lot of that stuff, it's like, oh, I'm on Spotify, I'm on Apple Music now. I can get all those albums back. Except I had uploaded music that I recorded myself in college. That's my music. And I had it nowhere else. And so now some of it that I didn't download back is completely gone forever because Google Music is gone. I invested my files into Google Music. You think it's going to be around forever. And they did try to do this transition thing, but my library was so big, filled with other artists as well, that I couldn't actually transition it into YouTube Music. So I was stuck with this Google Music thing, and they said it's already gone, you can download your files. The download was so big I couldn't filter through all of it. It wouldn't let me filter by artist and just download my stuff. So I have original recordings of me playing guitar, playing piano, probably a couple where I sing, which is not very common for those recordings. But they're gone now. They're just gone in the ether of, like maybe they're somewhere on some Google server because they haven't wiped it yet, but the product is gone. The interface for which I would have been able to download them just maybe 3 or 4 years ago, I think I could have still downloaded them, is completely gone. It's YouTube Music now. And if I log into my account, I think they've given me back the permission to listen to the songs that I had purchased, but anything I had uploaded, so that could be like, I was a teenager illegally downloading other people's music. That's not available anymore, which fair. But the uploads that I had that were my own music, they have no way of getting those back to me because they really didn't save the files. They just saved the licenses for stuff that I purchased. They didn't want me to purchase something on Google Music and not be able to listen to it on YouTube Music. But everything else, all my original work that I made in college, gone.
Yeah, it's sad.
What are you going to do?
Yeah, and because people sometimes they forgot of like putting that into the balance,
Yeah.
And it's something that's like it's hard to predict, but once you are in the industry, like you can kind of see the risk and like vetting like the organization that you are being partner, like being making a partnership, like it's super important. But yeah, no company is risk free. Like no company. Like you have like risk everywhere.
Oh, yeah.
Like yeah, you can minimize risk, but you cannot like.
Well, because even if you think the company is a giant that's never going anywhere, like we just talked about with Google, it's like they could still shutter a whole product line, in the matter of like a year or something like that. I mean, I'm still mad that you can't use Universal Analytics anymore. We were talking about GA4. I'm like, so, because I was so sure, because everyone hated GA4. They gave it like 2 years of GA4. Oh, Universal Analytics is going away, we promise. They extended it because people weren't transferring over, and I was kind of like, they're just never going to get rid of it. I kind of got like a little cocky about it. I was like, they're not going to get rid of it. They're going to keep it because no one likes GA4. Everyone likes Universal Analytics more. They're going to just keep it. They're not going to take it away. And when they took it away this summer, I was a little bit like, God, my hubris, it's just hubris.
But I had a conversation with actually my former boss that was like in web analytics for 15 plus year, and they say that this transition like happen in all other types of transitions. So like before Universal Analytics, there was like a type of tracking that was like different, and like they shutter like the same way, and other features it is kind of the same, like they give a reasonable amount of time and they just yeah, kind of ended. Like it's a cycle that
Yeah.
happens. But I don't know, like I think that there are like a lot of people that get used to it, and those that are really savvy are going to competition, because there is like a lot of new applications out there, like AppsFlyer, like it's getting like a huge chunk of the market for mobile, and Amplitude is coming like strongly. I'm seeing like more and more people talking about it, and there is like plenty of other web analytics solutions that are like getting to the market. So it's like kind of becoming a threat, and people are using Google Analytics just because they are used to. It's easy to report. It's everybody knows. So it's not that it's like a huge advantage. It's just like,
They have the
like why bother?
yeah,
That's the huge advantage of Google Analytics. Like
they,
that's
they're
relevant.
the
Why
incumbent.
bother
They're the
change?
incumbent. They're the game to be beat, so they're free. That's one advantage. They have the incumbent advantage, which is just everyone already has it, and it's easier to hire people that know it than it is to find people who know some obscure platform. But also, there's something going on where nobody realizes that another giant in tech that we've already talked about today has a free to use, very full featured web analytics software called Clarity. Do you know who makes Clarity?
Microsoft, right?
Oh, okay. Yeah, no. Usually I ask people if they've heard of Clarity. They're like, "What's Clarity?" And I'm like, "It's made by the other giant tech company. It's completely free. It has heat maps, it has session replay. I don't know why more people don't use it." I mean, it's not a full Google Analytics replacement, but it is kind of like a Hotjar replacement and it's free. Like, I don't understand why it's not more talked about. Like I guess Microsoft figured if we make it free, it will just immediately go viral. They're not going to put any money into marketing it because they're not making any money off of it. And it's so crazy to me that more people don't know about it. I wish I have a couple clients that use it and I find it to be much better for anything it does. It's better than Google Analytics. It's just a couple things that it doesn't do. But I'm a
Okay.
big fan of Microsoft Clarity.
Yeah, I haven't the opportunity to use it, but we were looking for replacements of Hotjar because their pricing system just, like they decided that they are good enough to like to screw everybody else. So they just like I don't know what they do like with that pricing system, and
Look
yeah.
into I
um,
found this one recently. I think they might be as expensive or more expensive than Hotjar, but it seems like a much more full featured platform. Full story. It's all one word. I'll send it to you in the chat. Full story. It combines quantitative analytics like click-through rates and behavior and this type of stuff you usually get from GA with session replay and heat maps and all that qualitative stuff that it's for it. I'm pretty sure it works for both websites and apps, but it's definitely got a more of a SaaS leaning for as far as UI goes. It's supposed to be excellent. I haven't gotten to use it yet, but I found it recently and I've been recommending it to people. Hopefully, someone will take me up on my recommendation and I'll be able to get some more feedback because it is one of those things where it's a very complex implementation. You have to sort of get a demo. There's no self-guided, self-tour free trial, but that's understandable with a product like that. But yeah, check it out. It's I think they're coming after Hotjar in a big way.
Awesome. Yeah. I'll definitely take a look at it.
Yeah.
So like 24 minutes later on, yeah,
Small talk.
yeah, cool conversation, man. Yeah, let's start. Like, who is Noah? Talk a little bit about yourself, man.
Yes. So I am who am I? That's a great question. I am a 30-year-old man who lives in Vermont. I work remotely for a HubSpot implementation agency called Modern Driven Media. They are out of Philadelphia, where a lot of my family lives. Well, the Philadelphia area, the outskirts. Um, I am the growth implementation manager over there, which is a strange and unique title. I might be the only growth implementation manager in the world, as far as I know. The story behind that is that I was the paid media specialist at Modern Driven Media, and I took on, in addition, not as a transfer, but as an addition to my responsibilities, HubSpot and Databox reporting and like CRM reporting, and I'm now part of the implementation team there. So I'm at the crossroads of paid media and reporting and business intelligence and analytics. So the idea there was growth often refers to people who are in a dual role of paid media or distribution and reporting, feedback, revenue sort of functions. And so we thought growth marketing manager kind of fits, but for how our clients are utilizing my time, we liked growth implementation manager a little bit better because it does speak to how I'm involved in the HubSpot implementations that we do. So that is what a growth implementation manager is, and that is what I currently am. In about 6 months ago, I became that. Until then, I was the paid media specialist here at Modern since November of 2021, back when I lived in New Orleans. And I spent 10 years of my life, about maybe a little bit more, in New Orleans. I was in the service industry for a long time. I have some nice bartending, managing experience. I can make some great cocktails, and I know how to check like a front of house order registry and all this kind of stuff. I even worked in the kitchen for a little bit because they once you're a manager, they train you on everything. And in the New Orleans restaurant industry, I can go to other restaurants like here in Vermont and I just tell them I worked in the New Orleans restaurant industry for 7 years. And that's like, okay, this guy's from Harvard College, Yale. This guy's the best. So it's a great little piece of experience. But that's how I got into marketing. I started doing websites and social media for those restaurants, eventually branching out to other brick and mortar businesses there in New Orleans. I was the co-founder. I still am technically the co-founder of a startup there in New Orleans that shows people happy hours. It's kind of going after Yelp and Eater and the infatuation. It shows very detailed happy hour information. It's built on a custom CMS. I helped do some of the UI UX design. I was doing all of the social media and content marketing and event marketing because we would throw these sort of wine nights where the people who were paying for a subscription could get free bottles of wine at different New Orleans restaurants. And that turned into working at another agency down there in New Orleans on local businesses where I was the social media lead. So I was in charge of organic and paid social for about 10 clients at a time, going to the businesses, making content, running ads. That I was using Go High Level there, which if you've ever used is kind of like, if you ever see a new CRM come around and it's like seems really small, they might just be using Go High Level while they're building out their actual product because it's a white label CRM. So if I buy a Go High Level account and I call it Noah's CRM, my clients will log in at noahscrm.com and it's my little logo in the corner and they think they're on my software and it's all just Go High Level white labeling. So look out for that. There's a bunch of CRMs called like Lead Page, Leadster, Lead Star, well, all these kind of things. And they all look the same because they're all Go High Level. Look out for that. And then
it's a great marketing strategy, though.
well,
Yeah.
it's the other. I always see it as HubSpot did this publicly we are HubSpot, but we're going to have all these partner agencies who are HubSpot partner agencies, and they get their authority from HubSpot. That's what I work at, a HubSpot partner agency now. We're a diamond or a platinum partner. We're an onboarding partner, training partner, all that kind of stuff. And HubSpot went that direction to get these third-party groups to come in and help develop the HubSpot ecosystem, help onboard people onto HubSpot, and spread the good word of HubSpot. But what Go High Level did is they said, a lot of these agencies probably think they could be their own SaaS founder, and why don't we let them try? And so instead of appealing to the authority of some larger SaaS company, you are left to your own merits as a marketer, as a salesperson, as a CRM implementation specialist, and you build out, and their features are very close. At any given time, they're pretty much up to date with what HubSpot has. They're very, very close. It's never quite like HubSpot just feels a lot more luxurious and a little bit more well put together. But I do think that Go High Level gets really close to hitting the same features. And all the only difference is you can't appeal to Go High Level to get your clients, because that's not where the authority comes from. You have to go to people and say, I've started this software. I am the creator of this software. I will help you implement it, and I will help you use it. And so people sort of run the gamut from, I think, people who are presenting themselves as a SaaS company and are using Go High Level, that's a little sketchy. But when you are an agency and you tell your clients that you have your own custom CRM and you've put the time into making Go High Level your custom solution that works specifically the way you want to, I don't think it's that much of a faux pas or a lie even to tell your clients, this is my CRM. That's how Go High Level's legal structure works, is that if you have a professional Go High Level account, you're allowed to call that your software once you've customized it. So those are two sides of the coin in the CRM world, I think. And what's also really weird about Go High Level is more people are using it than you'd ever think, because the people who are using it don't realize that they're all on the same software. So HubSpot has this great community where we all know we use HubSpot, and Go High Level has this weird sort of like shadow society. It's almost like a secret society where none of the members actually know that they're in this bigger community together. So it's an interesting and weird sort of thought experiment. And I don't think Go High Level has the valuation that HubSpot has, but maybe if they had that public knowledge, we would find out that they have almost as many users. I'm not actually sure where that's been left, but it's always been an interesting question to me is, as a SaaS company, should you try to build a community under your brand, or should you empower other people to build small communities that are using your software and paying you at the end of the day, but seem separate from each other because they're all white labeled? So I think the jury's out, although I don't see many other softwares. There's no Canva version of that where it's a white label graphic design software. There was one a couple of years ago, but I don't think they're doing nearly as much business as Canva. So it's like the authority of Canva is what people are appealing to when they are deciding whether or not to buy Canva. That's like I think a pretty foundational thing in all SaaS, really. Where was I?
It's a really difficult call, man. But I don't know. Like it's a tough call. Because I think that like being like this white label, like you can like increase the margin of the agency, because you can, like, because it's your product, like you can charge as much as you want to. So yeah, there's like this it's a tough call. I don't know which one's best, but it is a interesting move that what they made, man.
Well, it's kind of
like
Amazon, right? Amazon, you go to Amazon to buy from Amazon. Shopify, you go to your friend's website and you buy their stuff, and you bought it from Shopify in a certain sense, right? And there is a very famous quote from the founder of Shopify where he says, Amazon is building an army and we're arming the rebels. So there's this interesting thing of like, do you want to join the empire, or do you want to use the technology of Empire to empower your own smaller community thing. And it's like that's what a lot of businesses are choosing between right now. Do you want to be part of the HubSpot ecosystem where you're a small fish in a big pond, or you want to join Go High Level where you're actually making your own new pond?
Yeah, it's like they are adding like one edge of virality, because like you can grow virally, on a customer size, but you can increase virality, like increasing the amount of sellers as well. You are talking about like who you were, and like you say, like you are a paid specialist. You have like this cool, unique title of growth implementation, which I think it's MarTech. It's kind of MarTech, and like growth. It's because growth now it's basically anything, because can be marketing, can be products.
There's a lot of
like come on.
Throw out there. I mean, growth marketing, demand generation, revenue ops. These are, at some point earlier on, they had a more definite meaning, and then they became something that was being sought after by the executives. And what I'm finding out about this industry of marketing, MarTech, CRM, growth, whatever, is when there's a term that executives like, everyone starts using it for whatever they think is good. So now, we're now like 5 or more years after Refine Labs started really turning demand generation into this giant term. And it seems like now you can just replace, anytime someone would use the word marketing, which is a bad word, and we don't want to use that word anymore, and executives don't like how it sounds. You just say demand generation instead. I mean, it's like, magic. Now it's a fresh new industry. Oh, I'm not in marketing, I'm in demand generation. It's like I'm not in MarTech, I'm in growth implementation. It really is like a shifting of the terminology. And it's like a beautiful thing about language, I guess, really, more than anything.
Yeah, actually, like I made like a post like years ago, like about how people use just like naming to sell the same thing over and over and over and over and over. Like, how do you keep making people buy the same thing, believe the same thing? You just change the name. Like,
it's not a stuffed animal; it's a Beanie Baby. It's not a PDA; it's a smartphone, right? Like, it's a big. I think it's a big part of the commercial world of the last several hundred years. Is, can we rename it, repackage it, and sell it under this new term that makes it hot? This is why sometimes people will be ahead of their time, and someone like Apple will come along and reinvent their product and rebrand it, and it's suddenly the most successful thing. This is just the cycle, right?
What I'm thinking is that it's not a lot of people that take the time to look to the details and understand how things operate and start comparing one thing against the other. Because like if they do that, they realize that things are pretty similar. Like, because like when I started at marketing, like they say that they have like this position of growth hacker, and that at that time I saw like great, like super cool. I'll have like this new fun stuff. But once I started like studying and understanding like the difference between one and the other, and they say, hey, bro, it's the same thing, Because when people like give a different name, you assume like they are talking about a new cool thing, But like when you start like getting some experience, you start understanding how the game is played and how something that sounds like really inoffensive can have like a really huge impact. Because like if people start saying like growth, like if people start saying like growth implementation, like we need a growth implementation, like you'll be the leading of the industry because you're the first one. because
Well,
yeah, like
so you've given me a really good segue, because why did I stop saying video view retargeting and start saying video funnels? Because I looked on Google and I saw that it's a very confused term if you say video view retargeting, but very few people have talked about video view retargeting with the term video funnels. This is like, I tried to find a sort of net new term, because if I talk about it enough and no one else was talking about it before, I mean, Google revenue R&D and you will get Refine Labs number one, because they invented the term revenue R&D. And so they did this cool thing where they made a bunch of content about a new term that had a use, that had a meaning, but was it super necessary or needed for communication? No, it was just something that labeled a set of disciplines and concepts, and they talked about it until there was so much on their website and very little on other websites. And now if you run into someone talking about revenue R&D and you think, oh, what's revenue R&D, you just end up on their site. Doesn't matter who was talking about revenue R&D. And so I want the same thing in a lot of ways. I want, if I talk about video funnels enough, hopefully eventually you'll search video funnels and you'll get Noah Stambovsky, the video funnels guy. That's who I am. That's become my persona. So
yeah, that's what.
sorry for interrupting, but that was a perfect little segue there.
Yeah, that's what Sean did, like creating like this crazy name like growth hacking that's different from anything else. Like for those that are watching our live, which like top 400, 800s, like the Brazilian one, they will find out that this is kind of bullshit. But all the others, like 8 billion people that wasn't watching that live, can buy, man. And again, like it adds value. Like the book of Sean Ellis, like Hacking Growth, like it adds value. That there's like a lot of value there, even though it's still marketing. There are like some new methods of it, a new way of thinking. Like anyone that has like experience in marketing have a new way of doing marketing. I have my way of doing marketing. You have your way of doing marketing. Sean has his way, and he just like gave a name to it.
It's the same as inbound. HubSpot invented the term, they invented the concept, they wrote to no end about what inbound marketing is, and now they're synonymous with inbound marketing. So if you run into some random influencer on the internet talking about inbound marketing and you're new to this world, you search inbound marketing and you end up on HubSpot's blog. And that's exactly by design. They have become so synonymous with inbound marketing, which they also helped become one of the preeminent forms of marketing, schools of thought for marketing and growth hacking or whatever it is. But so now they own that term almost forever, because if it's not them continuing to write about it, it will be other people who are like me talking about how they invented it and how they basically did a giant case study on this concept with inbound marketing as a term.
Yeah, like names are at war. Like every name you say, like every word you put out at the word, there's like this huge war that's happening behind of the scenes. Like how are gonna say that thing, and like it's crazy, man.
Well, this is how I talk about paid media: is that paid social is an art and paid search is a war. And I think it's true even in organic, right? Social media is art. You're doing something somewhat akin to art. You're trying to make something resonate with people, and it's visual and it's video and it's audio and it's sometimes text, because on LinkedIn it's a lot of text. But then search is much more like war, where there is a definite top spot. It's not about, everyone's feeds are so different on social media. There isn't really a top spot of anything until someone searches and you're the first result. And yes, there's search optimization on Instagram, and people do that, and people try to search optimize on TikTok. But once someone's in a search window, you and your competitors are in a sense, they're at war with each other. Whereas when we're all in the feeds, it's a little bit more like we're all going to get a chance to get in front of this person, and whoever has the pitch that educates them and makes them excited about your product, makes them interested in your product and catches their attention, that's who's going to win the business. Whereas with search, it's kind of like we don't know what the exact rules are. Maybe someone who's really great at SEO does, but there's some hypothetical thing that you have to do to be ranking number one for a certain term. And if you do it, you'll rank number one. And if someone else does it better than you, they'll rank for number one. And so it's this much more definitive, like there's a winner and a second place and a third place. Whereas with social, it's kind of like, you know, if I have 1,000 followers and you have 10,000 followers, but I got in front of the right person at the right time, I might win their business over you. You know, it's not like the person with the most followers is winning in any sense of the word. It's the person who's posting content that is turning their followers into customers of some sort, I guess, right? That's how we're all thinking about paid social or organic, whatever social media nowadays. So it's an interesting little.
I think like when we were talking about SEO, I think there's like this theme of the winner takes all, approach, because like the second page, like how many users go to the second page? Like, come
Nobody.
on. Nobody. So like you have like, okay, like Google has like 1 billion users, but like 99.9% of all those users, like they stay at the same page. So like if you doesn't appear that for like, you are probably out of the game. And it's also like in Google you have like this more this competition like intent. So like people are in different stages, because on social media they are much more passive than on search, depending on the term. Like, because on search they are actively like looking for something. So it's really different. You were so it's
I was just moving this because I realized I have my blanket from my company here, so I wanted to put it in the frame. That's from Modern Driven Media. They gave me that, so
awesome. Yeah, do the marketing, right?
Yeah. I'm like, hey, this is a display ad right here.
Yeah, awesome. And let's after just like this quick introduction of 15 minutes, I think we can talk about like the subject. So what is this video funnels all about, man?
Video funnels, I could talk about it for a long time. We've already spent a lot of time not talking about video funnels. I could talk even more about video funnels. It is a conceptual framework that I have I'm not the only person, but I think I am the only person calling it video funnels. And I have worked on this at my current job and at my last job, the agency back in New Orleans. And it is sort of conceptually, it comes down to this idea that as marketers, we want to get a lot of touch points because everyone throws out this stat. The average consumer needs to see or interact with a brand 7 times minimum before they're ready to buy from that brand. Now, the way that people get those touch points, a lot of the time I'll see in say B2B SaaS with high ticket, low sales processes that take long periods of time. How do you get those touch points? People will put out a piece of content. They'll try to get people's emails for it. And then they'll say, we're going to get those touch points by emailing that person, get them on this newsletter. We're providing value. We're putting a lot of resources into this newsletter. We want, even if you do this the right way, it's expensive and it's imperfect, because at a certain point, if I'm making a valuable newsletter that's about what's going on in my industry, I still haven't really filtered for who's interested in my product specifically. I'm really making something that's more of like my total addressable market plus everyone who's in the same industry as them. And so the way that I see touch points is any way that you can reach someone twice, 3 times, however many times, X amount of times, based on some piece of evidence that they're interested in what you have to say. And when I say they're interested in what you have to say, that can start with educational stuff that's value added, that's teaching them something that has nothing to do with your product, but is related to it just because of what industry they're in. So, like Hootsuite might want to teach people how to write social media captions or something like that, and it's related, and that's great. But at a certain point, you need to see if they're interested in your product. So what I do with video funnels is I use these features that on LinkedIn and Meta are very, very easy and accessible, but I don't think enough people know about them, which is called video view retargeting. So we'll have a video. Sometimes it's a minute long, sometimes it's as long as 5 minutes, and it is taking the viewer through a sort of 30,000 foot view of the product, the service, whatever it is the client is trying to sell. It's not necessarily an educational video that's going to be useful to them outside of seeing if they're interested in the product. And I think of it as like a filter. It's filtering for interest. If I have a video that starts with sort of the value proposition of the product and works through 5 minutes of here are the different features, here are the different benefits, here are some of the outcomes, here are some testimonials of people that have used it. What I do then is I say, if I show this to 500,000 people, what percentage of them watch all the way through 5 minutes? And how can I reach those people again? And I want to reach those people more badly than I want to reach the people who watched a minute, more badly than I want to reach the people who watched 3 seconds, right? So it's about prioritizing people based on interest and doing it in a way so that you don't have to go through a website, an email collection form, an email nurture sequence, and how many times have they clicked and opened the emails and all these different engagement metrics. You're staying on platform, and you're almost, some of the dynamics are like email, some of the dynamics are like organic social. You are taking a initial video view and you set a threshold. It might be 15 seconds, it might be a minute, but you say, this is an amount of the video based on what we're talking in the video. They've gotten to the point of seeing some value, and now they've watched past that point. So let's say it's a minute of video watch time. Once they've done that, we can consider them sort of subscribed. They never pressed a button that said subscribe. They just watched over a minute of the video, and I take that as evidence that they're somewhat interested. So they start seeing follow-up videos to that. So, the first video might be a very general look. The second video that they're shown might focus on a specific benefit, a specific feature. It might be a testimonial. And we can refine messaging based on that. We can see, what do people watch longer for? Do they watch a testimonial longer than they watch a product guide that's a screen share showing the features? Do they watch a customer story where we're narrating what happened to the customer? Do they watch that longer than they watch a testimonial where the customer's actually talking to the camera? So instead of saying, Noah tried our product and did this, that would be like a customer story. Whereas a testimonial would be me looking at the camera and say, hi, I'm Noah. I used this product and it was great. So 1, we're testing the messaging. What is resonating with people best? And 2, we have a great sort of metric to retarget people based off of that has a lot more flexibility than website retargeting, in my experience. Now, website retargeting, we've had some problems in the last few years. There's privacy software, there's cookies, there's a lot of different, like the pixels are losing data based on what device people are on. This is only going to get worse too. So the way I see it is, no one's ever going to come into Facebook and interrupt the data that they have on platform, because it's a black box. Like, I don't get a list of people who watched over a minute of my video. I just get to tell Facebook, if someone watched over a minute of that video, put them in this audience and I'll show them this other ad. So in a lot of ways, it's safer for their privacy. It's more respectful of the user's end privacy, and it's achieving a lot of the same things. And I find that it's actually ends up being cheaper to get multiple touch points, because the incentives for Facebook and LinkedIn and other social media platforms, they want to keep you on the platform. So when I, as an advertiser, run a conversions ad or a traffic ad, I'm basically telling them, hey, I'm running this ad and I want the person to leave your platform. That's my end goal for the ad. they charge extra for that. I think it's something that anyone who's run a significant amount of paid social can see. It's a lot easier to get an extreme amount of reach and video views when you tell Facebook or LinkedIn, I want this to be a brand awareness campaign, I want this to be a reach campaign, than it is to get clicks to your website when you tell Facebook you want clicks to your website. So initially, we had this filter a couple years ago. This is how I was doing everything. The filter is, are they interested enough to click on the website? Okay, they were interested enough, but they didn't convert. Now I retarget them based on the fact that they clicked on the website. And that is still fundamentally what we're talking about here, but it's a better filter. It's more respectful of their privacy because we're retargeting them on the platform. We're not pulling their data from the website and plugging it back into Facebook and making these connections that honestly, most people, when you talk to them about it, they don't really like the sound of that much. So we're taking what the platforms themselves use, especially Instagram and TikTok, use video watch time to decide who's going to get the distribution, who's going to get the organic reach. These platforms that have way more data than any of their advertisers have, more data than I have decided that one of the best metrics to see if someone is interested in something is if they've watched a significant amount of video about it. So we're basically just taking that and we're building sequences. That's why it's called video funnels. We're building sequences that basically at any point someone might watch over the second. Let's say we have two thresholds, 15 seconds and a minute. So if they watch over 15 seconds of the first video, they get the second video. If they watch over 15 seconds of the second video, they get the third video. They're getting a sequence that's educating them and keeping them in those audiences with a frequency of once or twice a month. They're going to see these videos. If they watch over 15 seconds, they stay on that track going through the sequence of videos. At any time, if they watch over 60 seconds, they actually get put into the conversion ads audience where they see a still image that's calling back to the last video they watched. So if they just watched a testimonial, it'll be a quote from that testimonial. If they just watched a features and benefits based video, they'll have a little still image that says, you can do XYZ with this platform, and it'll be a direct verbatim callback to the video. And so at any point, they'll be going through this video funnel, seeing a sequence of videos. If they watch any of those videos long enough to hit that second threshold, let's say 60 seconds, they get the conversion ad that does take them to the site. And what I've seen is this takes a lot less website retargeting. Sometimes people are converting on their first visit to the website because they've gotten those touch points built up on the platform. They've educated themselves. All these things we talk about people doing on a website, they need to see your features, they need to see your pricing, they need to see testimonials. You can do this all on platform without having to bring people to your site. I mean, I'm not someone who thinks that we shouldn't have websites anymore, but sometimes when the goal of an ad campaign is to bring someone to the site and have them fill out a form, it's either they're thinking about it way too early and people aren't going to do that, or they're thinking about, oh, we got to bring them to the site so they can see this piece of information. Why not just give them that piece of information on the video? This is an extension in a way of, a lot of people talk about not gating assets anymore. I think this is an extension of not gating. You know, there's not gating an asset and putting it publicly on your website, and then there's just putting the asset right there on social media for people to consume. If it's really great and is going to cause people to want to use your product or service, you should want to distribute it as much as possible. You shouldn't want to make any friction. So yeah, put it on your site, but put it right there on social media. And actually I have an ebook about video funnels that is gated on my website, but also you can go right to my LinkedIn profile. You don't have to give me any information. It's there publicly on my LinkedIn profile. You can download the PDF right there without giving me any information, because I think anyone who reads that PDF, it's 49 pages about video funnels, which you just got a little gist of. Anyone who reads that PDF is either going to start doing this themselves if they can, which I'm not currently trying to teach a course on it, although I'm putting out feelers for it. They're either going to do it themselves if they know how, or they're going to call me and ask how to do it, because it's a high level PDF. So that's the short summary, I guess. That's like a little taste of what video funnels is.
Ooh, and yeah, it's actually like it's super cool. I have like 2 questions. We are going to pass a little bit. I don't know if this is a problem. Like half an hour can be. Yeah, just a little bit more.
Yeah.
Um, and I think like the first question is that we are seeing that video are playing like a huge role, and it is increasing in the usage. And a lot of people is advocating, like they are already advocating when I started like more than 5 years ago as well. And yeah, and it's becoming more like important. Um, um, how like how to take the most out of a video, like choosing the platform, choosing actors, like doing cartoons. Because like an image, of course, that it's complex and it's challenging, but the challenge of creating a video, it's way higher comparing to other types of ad, especially those types of videos that is going to place like a huge responsibility, because now it's not the responsibility of the landing page that it's going to be like this super important one to convert people. Like most part of that job is going to be built on the video. So like the video has like a huge importance, and now like the way you tell the story, the way you present, it's like super critical.
Yeah.
Like how is your take of like how to structure a video of that, like high level, of course, because yeah, it's
Like
not.
how should people think about video or the investment in video, and how do you best utilize it?
Yeah, I think like the investment, like how, like of course, like you should like hire someone like internally, like how is the teams going to be built, especially I think like for founders and like owners and people that want to start this strategy, like how they can build these capabilities, like what they have to be in mind, like to make it work.
I think for founders of startups, they should be thinking in a very volume and messaging based way. So, like, when I say that, I mean, if you are spending the time putting a lot of production into these videos, a lot of founders will say, "Well, that's how I want our company to come across." Um, there's too many examples, especially in the smaller startups space, of scrappy video makers beating out people who are taking too long to make the video. So I think especially for small startups, it's not as true for corporations and big enterprise, but for small startups where you're really just getting started out and the world doesn't know about you, you need to build that awareness and all that stuff. Done is so much better than perfect. And five videos that were taken in your home office that use your phone camera and your phone microphone and are your co-founder talking about the product, five of those is better than the one that you worked really hard on and put all the production material into, because it's not enough volume. You don't get enough from it. And when we were thinking about touch points, someone watches that one high production video, and that's as far as you've gotten them into your product. Whereas if you put the same resources into making five different videos that guide them through your product, you can hit them one touch point in a week, and then another in another week, and build that journey for them educating themselves. Because people are doing this, especially in my experience with running it on as ads on paid social and the sort of video funnels method. You can't info dump on people, because if you run an ad with 45 minutes of video, you're not going to build that video targeting audience quickly enough. You're not going to get enough of a relevant result from it, because the metrics you're allowed to use are who watched 3 or more seconds, who watched 10 or more seconds, who watched 15 or more seconds, and then you just get 25%, 50%, 75%, and completion. So if you do a 45-minute video, the difference between that 15 seconds and that 25% is so big, you're not going to see that 25% fit. You know, you need 300 to 1,000 people in these audiences before you can retarget them. You're going to spend your whole budget just getting that 25% filled in. So that's why I always go for these 1 to 5 minute videos, because that gives you a nice spread of how these retargeting audiences build. And it gives you a realistic, you know, I'm running a campaign right now. It's on Meta, $100 a day, 2-minute long video. And the completion audience, we're a week into the campaign. The completion audience is 500 people. So it's actually, to get one person to complete that 2-minute video is over $1 US. That's not great. It's not bad either, because it tells me something about how interested people are. Now, I'm retargeting everyone who's watched more than 10 seconds of it, but the people who are completing it, once that audience is big enough, those are people I know I really have on the line for that product, because they spent 2 minutes of their time. In this day and age, there's so much video to watch. People are scrolling through these platforms like crazy. So the idea that you would get 2 minutes on an advertisement, that you would get 2 minutes of someone's attention, is huge. So that's those 500 people, they haven't been to the website. And you might say, well, that's like, even if they had been to the website, that's like considering it like a $1.50 cost per click. But they're more interested than the people who clicked to the website and spent less than 2 minutes there. I can guarantee you that. They spent 2 minutes listening to the founder of this company talk about their product. You know, the founder did a voiceover. The company itself, the client itself, did a nice little video of the product and the values and the vision and all this kind of stuff. So I can tell you, anyone who's watched that full 2-minute video is as interested as someone who's been to the website multiple times and has shopped around and has had multiple touch points. It's worth a lot. So I think, sort of returning to your question, I think volume is very important, especially until you're like Coca-Cola. Like, here's a fun thought experiment. Do you know what Coca-Cola's annual ad budget is? It's $4 billion. $4 billion. Now, let's take this sort of idea. I've done the math on this before. I don't have it all in front of me, but it's crazy. So imagine you could pay $100 for a random creator on TikTok or YouTube to make a 1-minute long video about your product. If Coke spent their whole $4 billion doing that, they would cover 0.5% of YouTube's annual uploads would be people talking about Coca-Cola in those 1-minute videos. $100 a video gives you, with $4 billion, gives you 400,000 videos, 400,000 minutes of video, right? So I'm not going to question the people at Coke, but at the same time, I have to think there's no way a Super Bowl ad is as worth it as what you could get paying small creators to make lower production value videos where they just say, hey, I'm drinking a Coke, having a great time. It tastes great. You know, people are very quick to doubt this, but at the same time, if you investigate what you buy, a lot of the time you've run into an ad that's a low production value, user generated content, someone talking about a product. They don't seem to be from the company that's promoting the product, that makes the product. They seem to be an outside third party, and that clicks something in our human brains of, oh, I'm receiving a promotional message from not the company. A random person is telling me about this. And you know, we have different levels of trust, and people have become less trustful of influencers, but there's still a huge benefit to, you know, it's a form of social proof, but it's an incredible amount of content when you talk about going for volume instead of going for quality. Now, there are definitely situations where that's not true. And, you know, there are times where you need to present yourself a certain way. I'd say in consumer products, it's more true than it is for B2B. But even in B2B, you're still selling to humans. You're still presenting something that's going to be used by humans. And there is an element of, if you can scratch someone's record with that sort of surprise of they're not seeing a corporate video with the visual effects and the sound stage, and it's a guy in a suit who does this professionally and is a paid actor, and he's doing a presentation, and it's this high production value thing. There's a level of scratching someone's record and making them pause and actually think about what you're saying, because it's someone holding their phone like a selfie and talking about it in a real way. I mean, people talk about authenticity all the time. You can't manufacture authenticity, but the closest you can get is going for something that hits the mark on messaging, is clear, I mean, I always think captions help a lot. Clear audio helps a lot. These are things that, as you get to be a bigger company, you really can't skimp on. But a good camera and a good microphone, and the co-founder of the company talking about the product for an hour and cutting that up into clips, and there are automated tools to do this, so you can do it really quickly without a video editor. That is the stuff that really drives demand, just because you're able to hit a level of volume that you wouldn't have otherwise been able to do. And I think that's probably why a lot of these SaaS companies and B2B agencies and stuff like that, they make podcasts just so they can make videos. We see this all the time. If you go on YouTube Shorts, it's literally, how often are you seeing something that's a clip from a podcast? Because if you sit there and make 2 hours of video, or an hour and 10 minutes and 25 seconds or whatever it is, and you sit there and you make it, and we're talking about all this stuff, how many times across this hour and 10 minutes did you or me say something that, if taken as a 30-second clip, it would actually get someone to really watch the whole thing and be like, oh, that's so cool, I get it. It's a new concept, it's a new metaphor, it's a allegory. I'm talking about Microsoft Clarity. I'm gonna turn some of this into clips. I'm filming on my phone.
No. I this is download. I'll send you the download, man.
Oh, okay, yeah.
I didn't told you. I didn't tell you, but
this is recording in vertical. So I was gonna clipify that, but I'll send you whatever I get. But yes, you should also do the same. You should use Opus or Clipper, and
the studio that I'm using, like StreamYard, I'm using like the paid version. So when like this live is over, I can download the entire live. So everything that we said here is like is recorded.
Awesome.
Like great that you just recorded too. But I also like I'm also like sending to you. Because it's what you said, like it's like great to repurpose your content. And there's like this other thing that I'm thinking, just like to recapitulate, to reframe here. We have like founders like who can like do the content themselves, because volume is better than quality. And we can also partner like with small creators that like they have always like all the capabilities. Like they already have like a camera, all the infrastructure, like they know how they are doing, like they also have the experience, and they'll be like way cheaper than paying an actor. But like imagine, like, I think, for example, like in the restaurants that you were referring to. So I have a business that is offline, and I want to launch this initiative online, and I want to do it based on video funnels. So actually, like the founder is not like super bought in. So like maybe like they want to hire a team like to start doing it. Like I think like for those type of situations, like. It's like you hire someone that has like the video capability, like with them, like you hire creators. Do you like bought the camera and start doing yourself, like for companies that already are in the market, that are not like, because startups like you have like the founder like thinking about acquisition like all the time, because like startups, like they need to get into the market and be like successful. Like for companies that are running for quite a long time, and like they already are really worried about more like retention and how to increase engagement with their users. So when like we are talking about like those paid media for acquisition, like how they like should um, work at that? Like, because like we talk about like the co-founder like part, but like if you are like a marketing manager, like, or a growth
Yes,
manager,
bigger
or whatever, the man generation manager, like how you should structure this video strategy.
So I mean there's a big thing that I've noticed, and this is something I'm looking into because I think it's a big opportunity for video funnels and for a lot of people who are working in marketing programs at a lot of companies. Is what I'll find a company that's running ads on a bunch of different platforms. They're not using video in any of their ads. And then you go to their YouTube page and they have webinars, they have customer interviews, they have interviews with their CTO or their CEO, and it's just sitting on their YouTube. Sometimes they're also embedding it on their website. And I don't think enough people are thinking about repurposing it organically and clipping it up and putting it on organic social. But also, a lot of the time, you have the makings of what you need for video funnels there. I mean, I have a client I'm working with right now, and they already had on their YouTube a a 5 minute sort of, it's high production value, it's a paid voice actor narrating it, and it takes you through how their platform works and how what the benefits are and how to use it, and a lot of this stuff. It's like a bird's eye view, 5 minutes guide to their platform. And I was like, how much do you guys pay to get this video made where it's now just sitting on your YouTube getting 15 views a month? Because they have some YouTube subscribers and some organic YouTube juice that they're getting some viewership on it. But I just said, why wouldn't you distribute this further? And they were like, what do you mean? Like post it as a reel? And I'm like, well, you don't have enough organic followers for that to even matter. What you need, you use the paid social platform as a reach mechanism. We're running it as a reach ad, and now this whole group of people who would have otherwise had to go to YouTube to find this video are going to have it plopped right in front of them, and we're going to give it 2 weeks to a month of them being shown this video based on some very light, very broad targeting uh, settings. And now we're going to have a warmed up audience that's seen that video, that goes through all these different things, and we're going to have it segmented out into, here are the people who are kind of interested because they watch this much, here are the people who are really interested because they watch this much, here are the people who are extremely interested because they watch that whole 5 minutes. And that's the only added cost, because they happen to already have the video, and that's tough, because if they didn't already have it, I probably would have had to sell to them the idea of making it, which is necessary for some of these bigger companies. And that is where you can't skimp, because if you want it to seem like a high production value thing, you actually do need a high production value thing. Now, if they didn't have it, would I have told them to make it the same way they did? Because I think they spent like $4,000 making it. I don't think I would have suggested it be that high production value. I think I probably would have told them, you can get footage of yourselves here instead of paying for expensive stock footage. You can film this part on a phone. This part you might not want to film on a phone, but you can probably film the whole thing on a phone. Let's be honest. I think paying a voice actor who has the professional voice acting sound, although I love doing amateur voice actor work, and I've done it before for clients, and I don't mind it. And I've been told I have a face for radio, or a voice for radio, I guess. But and my dad is a radio host in his spare time. He's done a lot of stuff, but he's a radio host. And if
You're a
I
musician, man.
yeah, he's a musician, and he does a radio
You are
show.
too.
Yeah, no, he does a radio show about the American Songbook, so like Frank Sinatra and musicals and stuff like that. So he's a radio host. And if I tell myself I'm doing an impression of him, I do have this sort of radio host voice that I can pull out. I'm not going to try it here because I'm too nervous. But I think there's a lot of marketing managers who are stuck between knowing they have to do this and leadership that wants it to be really high production value, and then that makes it cost prohibitive. You have to be able to find a middle ground there. You need to be able to find, what are the branding elements, what are the production elements that I cannot move forward with leadership without these taken care of, without a video that meets these specifications? And then once I have the setup to make a video like that, how can I get the most content out of it? That doesn't necessarily mean an hour-long video, but it might mean an hour-long video that you're going to cut up later into separate videos. There's no reason to think of an hour-long video as just an hour-long video. Almost every hour-long video in the B2B space is also a bunch of clips, because there's going to be things that you don't need all the context, and it's enticing to not have the context. Sometimes people are going to be wondering what you're talking about. You pick up in the middle and you just share that aha moment. You know, if we're doing a big product walkthrough that takes an hour and I get to the part that you know, we have the customer story. Oh yeah, and when they turned this on, they saved $100 a month on their paid media spend because our little widget on their website is getting a higher conversion rate. Just turn that into a clip. You don't need all the context and all the explanation after. People are going to be interested and scroll up or down on your page to look for the part where you said that. So I think, you know, if you have a setup where you can get a high production value video, don't let it go to just a 5-minute thing. If you have any way of extending it, like, hey, while the video crew's here, get a bunch of B-roll. While the voice actor's here, have him read a bunch of extra scripts. Like, while you have the resources in place, make more than what your original pitch was, because you're gonna want more volume. So that's like probably how you can make some compromises between leadership that wants a high production value and the marketing manager who wants more content to work with. Because at the end of the day, if you have that high production value and you get the different messaging, I call these like messaging angles or categories. You got your product, your pain point, your features, your benefits, your testimonials, your incentives, which would be like any discount. You want to be able to have like one or two things in each of those categories to test against each other. Because at a certain point, video funnels, as much as it's about acquiring new customers, it's also about validating messaging for other sides of your business. If this video that hits on this pain point is doing so well, maybe we should have something that addresses that pain point right on the homepage, because apparently that's something that people find to be a big deal, that it saves you know, HR managers time when they're doing payroll or something like that. You know, like a little detail like that you can find through the video watch time much faster than you would through website behavior or organic social media engagement or comments or anything like that. You can find where are the diamonds in the rough of your messaging. And if you have messaging that's not working, that will become apparent in that video watch time as well.
Yeah. I think, you know, like the secret. So like if you are like a co-founder, like if you are the business owner, I think you have like much more autonomy, like to make the decision making. And usually like the co-founders, they also know a lot of the product, know how it works. So like he can be like the face, you know, of the message,
Yeah.
and also autonomy to work like with small creators. I think when we're talking here about like medium-sized corporations, when we have like a manager like leading, and what you said like is I agree completely of like teaming up with the content team, because all the organizations like they have the team that creates the content, even if like if for like the customers that they already have or other marketing activities, there is like a lot of content out there. And I have one experience, like when we're talking, I just like remember a experience at a startup that I work at, and I did exactly what you are telling. I just talk with content. I look at the files. I found like a video there that was like pretty cool, but like they just like used by whatever, wasn't even on YouTube.
It's sitting on a landing page with 30 visits a month. Yeah. No,
But it was like crazy because I picked that video, and it wasn't even like a funnel stuff, you know. But I look at the video and say like, this is like a diamond. I just picked the video, put on the paid media, did the segmentation, and when I did like an A/B testing, it was like the cost per result was like 3 times lower, man. It was like massively like increased like massively on
That's the other thing
on
that you
on
don't need the retargeting for is sometimes a video ad really just works on its own. And so, like when you run it as a reach ad, you sometimes see like, wow, this reach ad has a lot of clicks. If you're telling Facebook that it's a reach ad and it gets a lot of clicks, you have something that's really resonating. Like that's just immediately because Facebook is like, wait, I don't want people clicking this. That's not what we agreed on. So when you get clicks on something that you run as a reach ad, that's like the little sign that you do have what you said, a diamond in the rough. Yeah.
Yeah, there's of course that like if you have like a conversion campaign that works and the cost per impression super low and you just like get like super lucky because like I got like super lucky. I didn't make the content. I just like look at the drive and find out the piece of information.
Yeah.
But this maybe not available for everyone, but our organizations like they create content. Like there is their content team. I think partner with them is super important. And once you start like producing results, you can start like demanding more, which was like my case. Like once I've showed them that video are super important, I got a video editor, like I got like a copywriter to help me out. And even when like the content team was like doing production, I have like this copywriter like to be there and like to work on the scripts, like so part of their like production was like to produce the ads for paid media, but all of that was happening like step by steps. Like I think that like if I haven't showed them that video are important, they wouldn't like scale up. But like at a start point of view, like teaming up with content, it's awesome. Like there's like plenty of content out there.
Yeah.
And yeah, I think we are almost about time. I had like another question, but I think it's going to be like next time.
Okay.
Yeah, like let's like move to another topic. I know that you told about like the more modern driven media, but like if you want to explain more about any work that you do and what we can find out more about your job, your funnels strategy.
So my company, we're at moderndrivenmedia.com. And we do HubSpot implementation and marketing, which covers organic social, organic search, email marketing. I do paid search and paid social. And we even do some traditional like radio and print and everything like that. And, part of our business is that marketing business. And then the other side of it is we are a Diamond HubSpot implementation partner. So we help people migrate onto HubSpot, onboard onto HubSpot. We help with special projects using the different hubs, custom objects, custom builds of all sorts. And that is what we do over at Modern Driven Media. There's also more information about video funnels at my website, demandmyths.com. And also my personal site is just my name, noahstambovsky.com. And that has a little bit more information about video funnels and some of the stuff that I write. Let me think. I run a meme page that's about ancient history called Homeric Oddities. And so I write stuff like, about Achilles and how he really picked the wrong day to not wear an ankle guard or all this kind of stuff. So yeah, I do that a little bit. And yeah, I have a couple little fun side projects, little hobby projects, stuff like that. The main thing is I write on the Demand Myths blog. I try to write on there once a week, very often about video funnels. I'm pretty active on LinkedIn. I have some stuff that I do, like I do some comedy videos on Instagram and YouTube. I did a series called People Whose Lives Changed the World. It's a fictional history series about people who didn't exist. I found out that the inventor of the Ferris wheel, his last name was Ferris. And I started thinking, well, wouldn't it be funny if there was someone named Wilhelm Chair who invented the chair? And Francis Floss, who invented dental floss. So it's all just made up people who totally did not exist. And I present it like a history documentary and tell you about the lives of the inventors of these
Bro,
things.
I have to watch one of those videos.
Oh yeah, yeah. No, I'll send. Well, so I'm gonna send you some links because I also saw you wanted to get my recommendations for other people to ask about coming on the podcast. I have my 3 recommendations, and I will send those to you. But I'm also going to send you a link to where you can watch people whose lives change the world. So that's a fun one. So that's on my personal Instagram. I'm just sending that to you here in the chat. And I will send you my 3 recommendations, which are Vince Moreau. He runs a SEO and marketing agency out of France, and they're called Scale Crush. And he's really great. I talk to him every couple of weeks, and we just kind of bounce ideas and talk about, sort of the pitfalls of marketing. I've told him that we could almost start our own podcast. He's a very big, he's calling out all the bullshit in the industry, and it's really entertaining to see. I'm sorry if I'm not allowed to curse. That's just Alex Ferguson.
You are allowed. You can.
Alex Ferguson is another friend of mine. He's the CMO at TerraLeap. They have a vision very close to my heart. They enable B2B companies to get video testimonials from people, which to me is like, I want my clients to work with them, so I have more video testimonials. They will send your client a piece of lighting equipment and a microphone, and then they perform an interview over Zoom, and they edit it, and they send you the clips and the full interview to get client testimonial videos. They're a big believer in sort of getting rid of case studies and moving on to video case studies, where it's a real former customer presenting their use case and how they succeeded with your product. And it's a great service, and it seems like everyone I've seen who's used TerraLeap has really, really loved what it's been capable of. And Alex himself has gotten testimonials from their clients and has used video view retargeting. And so he's a believer in video funnels, I think. And then Cody Jung is someone I went to high school with, and he is a startup founder. He's started, I think, at least 2 companies. He's an investor. His current company is called Founders Way, and it is an AI for startup founders who have a missing piece in their founder setup. So there are technical founders who need help with marketing and sales and business administration. There are non-technical founders who need help with engineering and coding and design and things like that. And their system is like a big questionnaire that learns based on your business use case. It's a lot more useful than ChatGPT. It does involve AI, but they also have a team of people who are helping. It's a network of startups that you're joining when you join Founders Way, and they just partnered up with some really big funding companies, some VCs and stuff like that. So they are a pipeline to getting your tech stack in order, getting your idea fleshed out, your ideal customer profile, and all these sort of things, your business plan and everything like that. And they are also helping nurture people into VC funding. And they're, whether you're trying to bootstrap or VC fund, Founders Way is a really great way to do that.
Awesome. Yeah, I look forward to talking with them. Pretty cool. Thank you, man.
Thank you.
And yeah, like the final part, it's some quick questions. So yeah, there's like a famous interviewer here in Brazil that they say that I cannot like translate that. But yeah, she made like some quick questions, and then you can answer with the first thing that came to mind. Like there isn't right and wrong answer. So let's start. Are you ready?
I'm ready.
So one country.
Italy.
Why?
It's a cool place. I've been once. I'd love to return.
Awesome. One music?
Heavy metal.
Cool. One ice cream flavor.
Rocky Road.
Rocky Road.
It's got peanut
Um,
butter cups in it. That's why. If you need a
Ah.
why.
One alien.
One alien?
Yes, one alien.
Like what kind of alien?
Any kind of alien. Fictional
A
or
gray.
real? I don't know.
Oh, Klingons from Star Trek.
Okay. Awesome.
Yeah. Yeah.
Video funnels reminds you of what?
Email marketing.
Okay. One dream.
One dream. For God damn it. For Gary Vee to call me up and get mad at me for stealing his idea for video funnels.
Okay. One word that defines you.
Curiosity.
Awesome. Yeah, that was it, man. Just quick, yeah, a quick chat.
This was
And
wonderful, man.
yeah, I really enjoyed. I learned a bunch, and it was like super fun. Yeah, yeah, yeah. I think it was like really, really valuable. You know, like I think it's a super, super important strategy, and to help people like take the most, or the videos, you know, and all the content that is out there, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you. So yeah, we can finish here. Like if there's like anybody here, like thank you very much for watching.
Thank you, y'all.
Yeah. Bye bye. I'll finish here.
Bye bye.
You don't